someone asked me to help them with ideas for easy weeknight dinners because it's too harrowing to have executive function and figure out what you're going to make for dinner. So that's what we're doing here today. And I have some chicken thighs. We're going to roast them in the oven. We're going to make rice at the same time, and it should all wrap up in about 45 minutes, so you have dinner. I'm going to start with an onion. I'm going to chop it up. No, I'm not. I'm going to slice it. And I'm going to talk about how to slice an onion because I think people get confused on how to slice an onion. So if you do it, so here's the root end, and here's the end that sticks up out of the ground. If you do it this way, so it's rings, that's for sandwiches. That is not for cooking. Because if you cook them like that, they end up kind of weird and wormy, and they're different sizes because the inner rings will be shorter than the outer ring. Anyway, so I like to cut it this way and peel off the skin. Then if there's anything papery left, go ahead and be generous and remove it. I do a little V like that to remove the root, and it just pops right out. And then I go this way. So instead of going this way, which is for sandwiches, we're going to go this way, which is for cooking. And then when it gets to this part, I just lock it back over so that it's shorter, it's not so wibbly. You can only keep going. All about the same size. Yay. Okay. So I just threw these in here, and this is, I think, a 9x13. You could do 8x. It doesn't really matter as long as your chicken fits in it. So, and the way we're doing this isn't going to be like a dry roast where there's like no liquid left on the bottom. The reason why we layer the onion on the bottom is because it's going to sweeten what becomes like the juice or the bone broth. You don't have to eat them if you don't like onions, or you can eat them if you do. But I've washed this chicken and I'm wearing gloves because I'm handling chicken, and then I can just take the gloves off. Oh, fun thing. You can start them skin side down. Because later you can flip them over and turn on the broiler to crisp the skin, if that's what you're into. So I'm just going to season the chicken, cover it, and put it in the oven. So this is cinnamon, cumin, cardamom, ginger, and at the very end, just like a pinch of cloves and rose petal. If you don't have any of that, you can, it doesn't really matter. You can leave out as you wish for what you can find. And then I do 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm eyeballing it because I just know. And cracked black pepper. And no oil because there's a lot of fat in the skin. The shiny side will stick. The dull side will not. You want to put the dull side towards the chicken so that in case a piece sticks or touches, it won't stick to the foil. It's a 400-degree oven. So this is basmati rice, a cup and a half, and I parboiled it. I'm gonna go rinse it, and then cook up some shredded carrot. So I did a whole class on basmati rice. The reason why you want to rinse this is we're rinsing off all of the starch, and I don't want to scare you, but there's naturally occurring arsenic in rice, so it's really important to wash it. Not all cultures wash at this point, and that's fine too. But for basmati rice, it's for this style, the Persian style of rice, you want to rinse off any of the starch because we don't use chopsticks. Don't need it to be sticky. Okay, so these are carrots I've shredded myself. You can do it by hand, or you could just use like a box grater, or if you really want to save time, we could just buy it shredded. It's not that expensive, and it's a great thing to do. I'm going to cook it in 2 tablespoons of butter. I would say this is like a cup and a half of shredded carrots. Cook it in butter, and then I'm going to finish it off with some saffron. But I'm only going to cook the carrots until they become a little bit bendy, like they lose their crunch. You don't want to like cook them until they're left. Okay, butter in. A little bit hot. The pan's too hot, but it'll cool down once I do this. Okay, so this is what I mean by bendy. You see how when I stir, the carrots kind of yield. And don't touch the hot carrot like I do. It kind of yields, it bends. See? Kind of bendy. We don't want it to mush, but bendy. And then I'm going to add, don't tell anyone, sugar. It's important. It's 1 teaspoon. Actually, maybe that was half a teaspoon. And then like 1 teaspoon of salt. And this is like a 1/4 teaspoon of saffron. And I've used a mortar and pestle to make it super fine. See that? And then a little bit of water. And I'll show you what I mean. I can't give you a measurement, because if you're doing it in a really wide pan, it'll be a different amount than if it's like a narrow pan that's taller. So you just want to cover the bottom just a little bit to create some steam. And you see how like the bottom of the pan isn't quite liquidy? Just a little bit. It's mostly dry, right? I can see the pan right there. That's good enough? Okay, so I've got the rice. Here it is. Parboiled. I went too far, but that's fine. And then I put a little bit in the bottom with oil. I did about 1/4 cup of avocado oil or another neutral oil. And these are my partially cooked carrots. And so the reason why I put it on the bottom is because we're going to make tahdig, which is the crunchy part on the bottom of the pot. And I don't want to put the carrots on the bottom because the sugar content is too high and it'll burn. So this is how, there's a million ways to do it. Some people layer. They'll do a little white rice, a little carrot, a little white rice, yada yada. I like to just mix it in here. See how the saffron makes the rice really yellow? I'll show you, it's really pretty. So I'm going to do all of this and pour it in here. Okay, and I'm doing this here for the camera, but usually I do it over my sink because this bit of liquid, you don't want to throw that away. You want it to see how it's turning the rice yellow. That's saffron. And it is the most expensive spice in the world, and it has a lot of medicinal properties. So one of the most important being anti-Alzheimer's and antidepressant. So when you're tossing this in, try not to mash. You kind of want to fold under. See how I'm trying not to mush the rice? Just like that. You don't want to kind of go back and forth against the walls there. I don't know why. But you have to make a cone shape. So you're going to do this. This is how we do it. Someone said it was because our pots used to be shaped like this and it helps with steaming. So you're going to make it into a little pointy. And then you poke a hole all the way to the bottom. Pour a little water in the hole. I would say like 2 tablespoons. And then you take an old kitchen towel you don't care about. Cover. And the reason why you do this is because the condensation is going to catch the bottom of the lid into the towel instead of falling back into the rice and softening the bottom. We want the bottom to be crisp. Well, great. You can't see it, but this is what we call a violent steam. And what I mean by that is when you look at the pot, you can see that there's plenty of steam right here. Apparently. You'll have to believe me. It is violently steaming. So I started it on medium-high. And then once I see the violent steam, I put it on medium-low for 15 minutes. Chicken's out of the oven. It's been about 35 minutes because these chicken thighs are smaller. Very carefully because they're steamed. You want to ring them in. But do you see how I can see these bones here? Bone, 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 bone. That's usually a pretty good indicator when the meat draws away from the bone like that we are cooked. And if you're not sure, you can always use a meat thermometer. Okay, and when you're clocking like 165, you can just flip these over. Chicken's out, it's pulling away from the bone. I'm gonna flip these. And this skin is kind of soft and unappealing and slimy and squidgy. So when we put it back in the oven, you can either put your broiler on for a few minutes or just let it cook like this until it gets kind of crispy and golden on top. I'm taking the lid off, and then I'm going to take just a silicone spatula and run it around the edge. And I want to make sure it's nice and loose. I'm going to give it a little jiggle. Okay, it's loose. And then very carefully, make sure you don't burn yourself. You have to flip. She's it. Now listen. This is the best part. Can you hear that? It's like a cake, but it's Persianized stuff. And then I'm gonna do one thigh for my friend. Just a little bit of bone broth. So you can go to the store and buy really expensive bone broths, or that's what you have here. Not done.